So in this video, guys, I'm going to talk about the Nikon Z50 and is it actually capable of being a vlogging camera. I'm going to show you what you need to turn this ordinary entry-level crop sensor mirrorless camera into a decent vlogging rig setup. And is it actually the best vlogging camera out there right now going into 2021 going forward? Or should you just pass and pick something up like the Sony ZV-1? I'll give you my honest opinions and everything in this video. Stay tuned, guys. What up? If you don't know who I am yet, my name is Peter. Smash that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button for that algorithm times, So if you don't know yet, I am a content creator and I've been using the Nikon D50-200 for the past 3 to 4 years, and every single one of these 100 videos that you see on this channel was made by that camera. But recently I decided to upgrade to the one and only Nikon Z50 because it had the ability of backwards capabilities with the F to Z mount, letting me use something like a 35mm prime in 4K. So if you want to check that video, link is in the description below. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to talk about whether or not you can use the Nikon Z50 for actually vlogging. So to have a decent vlogging setup, what you'll need is a tripod. And the biggest issue or factor with the Nikon Z50 is that it has a flippy screen, not to the side, not to the front, but down. And the biggest gripe about that is if you flip it down and you put a tripod underneath it, one, you cannot flip the tripod, the LCD screen down, and you can't see yourself. So to avoid or work around that, there are alternative options like getting an L-mounted bracket underneath. So it's like a little cage that you have for your Nikon Z50. But for me, you already know, I don't really think I need that. And I'm actually relying on the Nikon Z50 capabilities of autofocus, and because it does a great job during if you have adequate lighting. So what I'd recommend is a tripod for your vlogging setup. I have two guys that I recommend. You check out my other videos in the description below. This is the Manfrotto Pixie Evo and the Pixie Mini tripod. The only difference between these two guys is this can hold a lot more weight, and this is for something along the lines of a compact camera. And one of the benefits of using the Z50 is that it can go in both of these because it is not that heavy unless you have a really front heavy lens. But I've used this with my Nikon Z50 with its kit lens and a microphone on top, and it has not have any issues. So like I said, this is the Evo 2, and the difference between this guy and this guy is that there is an additional setting here, and you can have it have a flat profile right here. It can go really low to the ground, and the locking mechanism is a little different from this guy. This one, twist it, you move it wherever it's a ball head, twist to secure, and the way that it locks is a little different, right? Here on the other hand is a much more vlogging friendly tripod, and I actually recommend this guy over this guy, but I bought this just in case if I have a heavier setup and I wanted to vlog with it. So for this setup, if you watch to the end, I will vlog with this Nikon Z50 after talking about this equipment, but I prefer the Manfrotto mini tripod right here. Simple, right? Legs like that, you can hold it here, and the locking mechanism is a lot easier, right? There's a little button here, you press it, move it around the camera you want, let go, it locks, and it's pretty sturdy. You have to put quite a bit of force to get it to move, so you won't have to worry about that messing around. So that is the Manfrotto mini tripod. Link is in the description below if you want to check that out. So yes, when it comes to vlogging, you can't always hold the camera to the side because your arm does get tired, so you want something to hold it in, and you also want something to place the camera down. Next is we're going to talk about lens setup. All you need for a decent vlog setup is you need something that's at least 18 mils, and I highly suggest you get a kit lens to use with this, or some sort of a wider zoom range from 18 to 35, 17 to 50. That is the ideal range you're looking at for your focal length of lenses, and I'll be using the 18 to 50 kit lens for this. Really light, compact, and perfect for autofocus capabilities, as well as having a vlog setup that is light and run and gun. Next is we'll be talking about audio. So when it comes to having good or decent audio, in the ideal situation, you would have like a Rode Wireless Go, link in the description if you want to check it out, or like a Rode Link, so you always have constant audio. But if you're running and gunning, you definitely want something that has a little bit more of a versatility when it comes to not having to rely on battery packs and just, you're not looking for professional quality, but vlog quality. So what I recommend is I have two mics here. I've already made videos on it. Check it out, links in the description below. This is the Rode Video Micro right here with the dead cat on it. Solid mic. It really depends on your camera body, but if it's a mirrorless and newer camera, you should have a decent upgrade in terms of quality audio. And as well as this is the Deity D4, and the cool selling point of the Deity D4, it is dual channel, so you can record when you're talking behind it, so you don't have to constantly flip the camera back and forth because there's two microphones, and you can talk behind it and give commentary of whatever you're filming, and you don't have to keep going back like, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. Well, you can just have a simple switch that enables both of these microphones. But for the purpose of this Nikon Z50 test, I'll be using my handy dandy Rode Video Micro plugged into my Nikon Z50. And before I take y'all out and show you what my vlog setup and lens will actually look like, and the sound and the video, I'm actually going into my Nikon Z50 and look exactly at the settings you'll need to make sure that you have decent quality with your video settings. And then I promise that I'll take it out for a spin. Okay, to get the right vlogging setup, first is you want to be on manual, and you want to have your ISO turned on to fully auto, because you're not going to be able to manually adjust, especially if you're running and gunning. So how you do that is you go down into ISO sensitivity, you turn to auto ISO control, turn that on, and you want to limit your maximum sensitivity range. So I leave it at 6400. Anything above is going to get even more grainier. So I just leave that as is. And if you're wondering, I always film, if this is going to be a vlog footage, you want to have the good quality. So you want to have it at 4K. I have it at 24 frames per second. And if you want to do slow motion, you can also do that as well if you want to have any interesting B-roll. And the most important thing when it comes to having the proper exposure is you want to go down to your pencil menu, go down into, you're looking at bracketing and flash, E4, and this is going to help you with your auto ISO. So what the Nikon actually allows you to do is you can have it exposed for only your subject only, meaning your face will be properly exposed and the background is going to be overblown or underexposed. For me, that is the deal breaker. I want my face to be well lit. I don't really care about the subject or the background, but you can do a combination of both. But if you're vlogging, I highly suggest you go to a subject only mode for your auto ISO. And everything else, when it comes to actually filming, I'll be trying to shoot at 1/50, the lowest aperture I can go, and I have auto ISO. Autofocus, I put it as right here, auto AF mode. Your focus mode, making sure that's on AFF, so you're essentially continuous autofocus. And your mic, if you're using a shotgun, I would upgrade the mic to either at a 1011, which I'll be using on my Rode Video Micro, and those should be the right settings that you could have for your overall vlog setup. And of course, don't forget, if you don't want to turn and have that annoying flicker on, you just making sure you hit this button right here, and it'll have your monitor only so you can see what's on the screen. And as long as you have your autofocus right at the right settings, I have the capability more than enough that I will be in focus and I don't necessarily have to flip the screen down. And if I did have to flip and look exactly what the Nikon Z50 is doing, then I would just simply grab the Nikon Snap Bridge app, which allows me to connect my phone to my DSLR so I can see what exactly is going on, and I can see exactly what I'm seeing on my phone instead of having to flip the screen. So that's another workaround from that, and you don't necessarily have to purchase that L bracket tripod. So right now I'm shooting in completely fully automatic. My only concern is the shutter speed because I am shooting at 4K. It might get a little choppy, but overall what I'm looking for in this test is autofocus. Because I have glasses on, does it do a better job when I don't have my glasses? As well as overall exposure in terms of having something really well lit in the background versus is it probably exposing my face. I'm glad I'll be filming this because I am based out of Vancouver. It's gonna be raining for the next 3 to 4 days, so anything for the content, right? So right now what I'm looking for is exposure. What if I'm backlit, right? Versus the sun facing me. Is the autofocus doing well? What's the exposure like? You want to pay attention to that. And everything I put on my autofocus is set at autofocus speed 4, sensitivity put on max. So right now I am completely backlit. So I want to see how the Z50 actually does comparison to if I was front faced. Because this is the most ideal situation. Let's say if I was walking like this, but the sun is behind me. I want to see how the Z50 does with overall exposing my face properly, and can it detect my face? Because one of the biggest gripes about using the Z50 is the flippy down screen, and I can't see myself right now. That is one of the negatives, because if I put a tripod mount on it, I can't necessarily see what is going underneath me, right? So right now I'm just completely relying on the autofocus capabilities and having faith that everything will track me completely fine. So we'll see how that does. Look at how the exposure is to my face. Am I well lit? And is it tracking my face properly? So if I were to vlog and suddenly just whip out the camera and be like, hey, let's put that over there, right, for example, and then come back to my face, is that in focus, right? That's one of the key things of if you're looking for a vlogging camera, is that fast, snappy autofocus, as well as having proper exposure settings. Because in ideal situation, right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch everything on manual, and we'll see how that looks with auto ISO. So right now I am on completely manual. I'm shooting at 1/50, f10 because I don't have an ND filter on here, and auto ISO. So when you're filming in 4K and 24 frames per second, you want to be shooting at 1/50, so you want to double that, as well as, of course, you want to have your VR optical VR on, as that's what helps make it a little less shaky and stable. And everything else, man, is shooting everything is auto, manual 1/50, and this is what it'll be like if I were to vlog with it. I think it's a solid vlogging camera. The only downfall is I won't be able to see what's behind the screen, because if I try to flip the screen down, I'll show you guys in B-roll, is that can't really see what's going on. You know, I can sort of flip it down, and the workaround around that is if I were to actually get like an L-mount L-mount bracket for a rig for this, but I don't think that's really necessary, as I can see the autofocus on this guy, even though I have glasses, should be working fairly well with this Z50 vlog setup. And that, guys, was my overall vlogging setup, and if you watched by this far, yes, you can vlog with the Nikon Z50. And is it the best vlogging camera out there for the budget? I think so, with this price range. And if you're leaning towards, let's say, a Sony ZV-1, which is like the most compact link subscription, but the downsides of that is that smaller sensor size, yes, you have like better autofocus, you have things like detection, and the Sony ZV-1 is more along the lines of the people who aren't really techie, and it's more for your entry-level consumers, right? It's like a higher-end consumer that just wants to point and shoot and doesn't really care about the settings, aperture, vlog profiles. They're all about, you know, just being a content creator without having to know the technicalities of actually using a vlogging setup and camera specs. But who I recommend that camera for is that you can't change the focal lengths, right? And yes, there are a lot of benefits. If you have that price point, use it as your vlogging camera. But if you're on a budget and you want to stick with Nikon, the Z50, which lets you change the lens, has a CMOS sensor as well as a mirrorless camera, and a standard, secondary B-roll camera, especially if you're in the Nikon lineup. I'll have like a Z6 Mark II as a A cam. This would be a B cam. I would not use a ZV-1 as a B cam. And you really have to figure out, what is it that you want? Do you not really care about the professional aspect of using a ZV-1? And all you're making is YouTube videos, then go ahead and use that as your main source of visuals. But for me, especially for the price point of under $1,000, you pair together with a decent shotgun mic, your decent audio quality settings, you can't really beat this within this price range and its budget. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Link description to talk about and check out everything that I mentioned, as well as if you want to get serious about video editing and using your camera, I have a crash course. Link in the description below. And my name is Peter. You're watching a Broke Vegetarian Collective, where we all start with nothing, but you can always create something. Cheers, guys.